My reaction to the takeover, what took them so long? We have a lot of issues that don't pertain to a school getting a F rating. It's not all about that, and a lot of people don't understand, but it's far more than just an F rating from a school or something like that. We're dealing with corruption. We're dealing with folks, being federally indicted, and enough is enough. And I just feel that our children have been getting a raw deal for at least the last 20 to 30 years, especially black and brown children. And it's time for somebody to come through and make sure these kids get educated. HISDs fail.
But the sentiment, some of the sentiment is that this was a bad move for the kids.
Actually, it's not. What's a bad move is if we keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. And that's what we've been doing. We've been kicking the can down the road, for many years. And they've had more than enough time to fix these schools. I mean, look at Highland Heights. I mean, the commissioner put it in his letter. We're talking about Wheatley being a failing school, and now they got a C. Well, Highland Heights Elementary has failed the last 11 years in a row. They don't even have to talk about Wheatley. They can talk about Highland Heights. That makes no sense. It doesn't take rocket scientists to figure out how to fix a failing school.
What's wrong with HISD? What has been wrong with them?
Corruption. Corruption at its finest. It's more important for people to make money any way that they can make it rather than invest the money that we get into our children. And it's been proven by the indictments that have come down in the last few years that some things seem more important than educating children. You got trustees putting money in their pockets when we got teachers taking money out of their pockets to fund our classrooms. And it should not be like that. So it's corruption at its finest.
Let me back up. You've been an advocate for HISD for a long time, and the things that they do or not do to engage in other schools as well.
Yes.
So I guess start over. What's your overall response to what has happened?
My overall response to what has happened is it needed to happen sooner. It should have happened sooner. HISD knew they would not win the lawsuit. They knew that. But that was their way of holding off TEA. Okay, you held them off, but at the same time, where's the viable plan to fix failing schools? You've had a whole bunch of politicians marching like we in the 60s, but none of them can actually tell you what needs to be done to fix a failing school. In 2018, we had 11 failing schools. People went to jail one night in a school board meeting. How do we go from 11 failing schools, and in 2023, we got over 40 failing schools? And we think we're doing good? No, I don't believe that. I think it needed to be done, and it should have been done quicker.
But they say they went from low grade to a B now, right?
That's because TEA lowered their standards last year. So if TEA's standard was a 10, they lowered it down to a 6. So now we come in at a 7. It looks like we're shining, but the test scores coming out this year will prove that we are going backwards. Our kids are not going to do good on these STAR tests this year.
That's pretty sad.
It's past sad, brother. I mean, we're losing kids to the streets. I mean, I've run into so many kids that have graduated that can't spell their name. So many kids that can't do basic mathematics. But yet they figure out a way to pass the STAR test. So that tells me something going on with the test. You see what I'm saying? So the bottom line is they put the commissioner in a position where he had to do his job. And according to state law, he had to make a decision. So I would rather him not close Wheatley down, because what happens if one of our schools fails this year and you kept the school board? Well, you would have to close that school next year. It's the domino effect. So they want to come in. They want to come in with some strategies. They want to fix them. Okay, well, let's fix them. We're going to go through hell before we get back to heaven. There's no questions about that. But HISD did this to themselves. They did. I've been in that boardroom for 14 years, screaming the same song every month. Nobody listens. They treat us like we're garbage. The parents are not important, but all the experts keep failing. No, Marath, and I applaud him, he did his job today. And that's the only thing you can ask for somebody in his position. Just do your job to the best of your ability.
What do you say to people? Because, yeah, you have been going to HISD meetings. It's known that you have been against HISD in a lot of different ways. What do you say to people who say, you just tripping, this is exactly what you just throwing dirt?
I say look at the data. I say go walk your schools. I'm not going to tell you to do something that I don't do. I look at the data. I walk my schools. I know what our children don't have in our schools. And if you want a child to be successful in a school, you're going to have to give them what they need to get it done. And they're not doing that. So if they think it's just personal with me, I could care less. The bottom line is, whether they like me or not, I'm there every month fighting for their children because I don't have a kid in this school district. So think about that. Why would he do this? Because I believe that the foundation to help these kids in the long run is a quality education, which they're not getting with HISD.
What do you have to say about the fact that, unfortunately, this has happened? It's our mayor's, this is last year, and this will be like on his record.
The mayor never cared about schools. I don't know if you want to print this or put this out there. In 2018, these schools were offered to the mayor by TEA. They told him to take over the school district. He told them no. So now today you have a problem with it? For every elected official that has stood in front of a camera in the last 2 weeks, for every elected official that's trying to galvanize the community and say that this is a racist move, especially those legislators, I ask one question. Why did you vote for 1842? Why did you vote for 1882? The same bills that he used against you today, minus Armando Wale and Garnett Coleman, they voted for him. You made a deal with the devil the day he came to get your soul.
Anything else you want to add?
The only thing I would add, man, is there's nothing wrong with our children. If a child can leave a public school and go across the street to the charter school and excel academically, it's not the kid, it's the system that he's in. HISD does not care about poor schools, poor struggling schools. HISD only cares about the money. That's it. As long as they can make money, they could care less. So we've tried everything. We're going to have to try this. We don't have a choice in the matter anymore. It's out of our hands. Our focus needs to be, whether it's HISD or TEA, what is your plan to help these schools stop failing? That's where we are as a community. That's what I'm talking to my people about. And if there is no viable plan, then TEA won't succeed either. But I think they didn't have a long time to think about this, and I think they're going to come through and they're going to do some things different. Will there be some hiccups? Yes. Will there be some school consolidations? Yes. Will there be some school closures? Yes. But all that comes with the game when your school district gets taken over. That all comes with the game. And if you didn't want to deal with it, all you had to do, HISD, was fix those schools. And you chose not to do it.
So what's your best hope scenario? Say 1 year, 2 year, 3 years down the line. What's your best scenario that you would like?
I think it's going to take about 5 years. That's my honest assessment. Because if we don't do very well on these STAR tests this year, we're going to be really behind. So I don't think it's going to be a quick fix. I think there's too much to do in a year or too much to do in 2 years. You know, I've ran for HISD school board, so I know how it feels to want to elect your officials. And I must say that on this particular board, you know, you had good people on the board like Dr. Kendall Baker, Bridget Wade. I'm not going to name them all. And my trustee in my district, Myrna Guidry. You had some phenomenal people on the school board. But them being removed, it comes with the way that the law was written. Am I mad at Harold Dutton? No. I'm like Mr. Dutton. I get sick of watching kids get picked up in front of Yates and have to go to West U to get a quality education. Why can't they get one in our neighborhood? We pay taxes there. So the bottom line is, if you didn't want it to happen, you had more than enough time to fix it, and now you got to deal with it. But, you know, arrivederci.